Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here. It's a Wednesday. It's a great Wednesday. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, some great news happening. We're going to make Shay happy this morning. We're going to talk about baseball. But Steve Nudelberg is in Baltimore this morning, I believe is correct.
Rainy Baltimore.
Where it's rainy, it's wet, so we're sending good vibes to him. Good luck to you, sir, as you step on stage, break a leg, as they say. But let's go. Let's get after it. Let's have a great day. What's going on in your world, Jake?
Oh, not much. It's a great day. I finally entered the proper timing of computer, era. I was using a computer that was about 7 years old. Didn't really know how far back I was living, so got a new computer. And it's like fun to be on it. Like I forgot what buying a new computer is like.
It's nice when you're using technology the way it's supposed to be.
The way it's supposed to be, but don't worry, I am my father. I was flipping out because the camera wasn't working this morning. It had me zoomed in right to your guys' face. So thankfully we have Mark.
So, I don't know if you guys have noticed this throughout the show, but there is a panic gene that tends to run through the Nudelberg DNA. Starts with our grandfather, Stan, who tried to call my father on Sunday, and because he didn't answer and because he didn't call him back immediately. Oh, look who's here.
Hey,
good morning, Steve Nudelberg.
Here we go. So let me make Doug famous.
Hey, Doug. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're live on the show.
Here we go. Good morning, everyone. Let's have a great day.
Let's have a great day. Get after it. Enjoy the presentation.
Place is dressed in green, so I'm just making it jet plate. It's all about the Jets.
That's right.
Jets. So look at the room.
Awesome.
Really nice. Good stuff.
Beautiful.
You guys have a great show. I didn't mean to interrupt, but
all good. Great to see you.
So many people here that watched the show. When we came last night, they were like, "Oh my God, the Huddle guy is here!" So.
The Huddle guy is here.
See ya.
Have a great day. So back to my story about there being a panic gene. So my grandfather goes absolutely berserk because my dad doesn't call him back immediately. Calls me. I don't answer because I'm with Jules. He leaves me a voicemail like, I tried to call your father. He hasn't called me back. I don't know what's going on. He then proceeds to call Jake, who is buying his new computer, doesn't answer. And it's an all-out freak-out session.
I've called your brother. I've called your father. Nobody's answering me. Nobody wants to talk to me. What's happening down there? And I'm like, I don't know. It's Sunday at 5.
Similarly, I think
I'm surprised he doesn't have my number to call me and be like, what's going on?
So similarly as when you've seen things go awry on the Huddle and you see my father, Steve, tend to kind of, have a little freak-out session. Jake was doing the same this morning when his computer was on the wrong resolution and too zoomed in, and he looked like he was this in the screen. So good stuff. Good morning. Great stuff. Shay, do we have baseball stuff to talk about?
We do.
So big congratulations to Aaron Judge.
Are we going to get to wake up music first?
We'll get to that after. Let's get to this baseball stuff. Get it out of the way.
We'll soak in a little history with Aaron Judge last night breaking Roger Maris's American League home run record.
So it's the American League home run record, right? It's not the Major League home run record because that is owned by the great Barry Bonds. But it's the first person in American League, or the first person since Roger Maris in American League history to break the 60 mark, get past 61, and get to 62 and solidify himself. But forget about Aaron Judge. Do we have the video of his mom, Shay?
I have the video of the whole thing, so it's about a minute. So I think.
All right, let's watch the video. Let's talk about it when we come back.
High fly ball, deep left. There it goes, soaring into history. He's done it. He has done Judge is the American League single-season home run leader. The AL King. Case closed.
So mostly I'm just happy that they're going to stop interrupting everything else that I'm watching to show me an Aaron Judge at bat.
There's so much that you can talk about from that one clip alone. You have him, you have his strut, you have his reaction. That is the same as when he hit home run number 15. You see the guy jumping out of yes, that's where I'm going.
Laura Sherwin hit it on the head.
So many. I've seen a full, and it's a great video. There is a full film breakdown of this moment. You have the guy who's jumping out of the stands. The ball's not even there. He just jumps out of the stands. Just in case it falls, he jumps out. The guy who catches the ball is, I guess, some big-time VP of some investment bank, doesn't need the money. So everyone's like, you should give the ball back. You should.
Yeah, they manage like $100 and something billion.
Right. Like he's not short. He dates like a local reporter. And so like they're local celebrities now. But then the best one was there's a guy with a plate of food standing next to the guy. And he never even gets up out of his seat. He just sits there. He just sits there the entire
There's
time.
no way that I'm dumping this $40 plate of chicken
he's
fingers.
sitting in the first row of where the ball is going, and he doesn't move an inch. Like everyone's filming, and he's just there eating. So
one thing about the guy jumping out of the stands to get the ball, I wonder if he exhibits that kind of effort in everything else he does in his life, right? Like, dude, if you're willing to go that all out to
it wasn't like a short fall.
Which has been evaluated already at $2 million. So if you catch it or if you got that ball, it's a quick little come up of $2 million. But that kind of effort, to me, that's the thing. That's the behavior. That's the commitment that, like, dude, I don't know what else you do in your life, but figure out something that you're somewhat remotely as passionate about as catching that baseball and put all your energy into it. Just direct everything you got into that because that's going to find you success. Forget about the baseball. Go take that same mindset and direct it towards something else that you're somewhat passionate about.
So I asked Dad and Lori when they were hosting the huddle with me, and if you're the guy who catches the ball, what's your next move? What's your plan?
I'm out. I'm hightailing it directly out of the stadium.
Are you selling it? Are you giving it to him for an experience? Are you?
Yeah, I think.
And it's obviously different when you're not holding the ball in your hands.
I think I'm leveraging it for a conversation with Major League Baseball, and like, hey guys, what can we do here? How do we make something really cool out of this? How do we make an experience out of this? How do we make sure that this ball gets, remembered the right way, that it ends up in the right hands? Like, how do we forget about the money? Forget about Aaron Judge having it. Like, what's the right thing to do here? Let's make sure that we make a group decision that's right by everybody. Because the thing you didn't see in that video, or maybe you saw it for a split second, was his mom. And if you can look up, if you guys can find his mom's reaction to him hitting that home run, she doesn't even stand up. It's more a relief for her that he was able to do it and that it happened. And I thought that was a really cool moment because I think as being a parent,
one more game,
right?
So to finish it in this season, and have it be done. Obviously, it's at the end of the season, but yeah.
So for like to see the relief on her face and to know like what that that angst is, or that as you're watching your kids try to do something and you want it so badly for them, yet you can't really do anything to help them get it. Just a very cool moment. So cool stuff for baseball. Congrats to Aaron Judge. Congrats to that guy who I hope it's okay this morning that fell out of the stands, but he's definitely famous now. And let's get to some wake-up music. We're going to get back, and we're going to start talking about controlling the controllables.
Wake up, everybody! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Wake up! Come on! Come on!
So there's some interesting headlines out there, and I'm excited to talk about this one because I think this will spark a lot of emotion and a lot of conversation within the huddle. Shay, give me the huddle headlines music. So there's always a time when, you know, I read a headline and I'm like, oh man, like this is when I don't like to be grouped in with the millennials. Like I think it's not fair that I get grouped in with the millennials.
Conversation.
It's like a 20-year gap that we're talking about, and a lot changed in that matter of time. But there's a headline coming out of NYU where a professor was fired over teaching a hard class. And when 82 students at NYU signed a petition complaining that an organic chemistry course was too hard, they didn't ask for the professor who taught the class to be fired, but NYU terminated Dr. Maitland Jones Jr.'s contract. And so I think there's a conversation to be had here, which obviously everybody in this huddle is going to go, oh my God, the millennials, they get faced with a little bit of adversity, and the first thing they do is put together a petition to get that person fired. That very well may be true. I don't know whether or not it is, but that might be the case. The other side of that argument is that there was a man who was teaching an organic chemistry class, and as a teacher was not living, which is a very hard concept. For those of you that have never taken chemistry or organic chemistry, it's extremely difficult. There was a man who was responsible for educating people about a very hard topic that was not living up to their expectation of support and guidance in the delivery of this, this content and this class. So I don't know. What do you think?
Well, do you believe in your heart that 82 kids did everything in their ability to pass that class? Like, do you firmly, like, think back to when you were in college, and now I wasn't taking organic chem. And
so here's the thing is Jay Katari says cancel culture for sure, right? Like, this is the good and bad of being able to just band together as people. Do I think all 82 did everything they could to pass that class? For sure not, right? Like, there were people like me who looked at the syllabus in the beginning of the semester and was like, all right, here we go. We're going to have to really put some work together on this one. Like, where are the big assignments? Where do I know I really got to do well? But I find it hard to believe that 82 people all agreed to sign a petition to get somebody reprimanded or to have some kind of action without there being some kind of legitimacy behind it.
Right. And I think it's a conversation of the culture is changing as a whole. You know, you just had a speech talking about leadership to a group of much more mature individuals, you know.
Yeah, all baby boomers. The reality, the majority of those people were baby boomers.
Much older than my generation and older than your generation. And even they acknowledge that the world is changing, and if they don't change with it, that they're going to get left behind. So I think that's a conversation of, I think the school system isn't exactly built and tailored to the benefit of the student. I think it's there are two different sides to this. And also there is a money aspect that involves with colleges. They are a business, and they want
that to me is like Virginia drives a great point here. Dan Nelson drives a great point here. Like Dan says, was that the best way the school could handle it? Probably not, right? Like when you pose the question to me, what am I doing with that ball? To me, I go back to Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So whether you're a teacher, whether you're the dean of the college, with great power comes great responsibility. What feels like a knee-jerk reaction to firing this guy because there was a petition that the class was too hard. There's got to be a discussion somewhere. There's got to be people brought together to, and I'm going to talk about this today in GOTB Live, to get to the root cause of the problem, right? Like the students might be complaining about something that's actually a symptom of the actual problem, right? And there may be a reaction coming from the school to the petition, which again is a symptom of the problem, not the actual problem. So, you know, I don't ever believe in just painting something with a broad stroke and saying that's what it is. You know, like there's people in here that'll say that, you know, Gen Y is soft, or Gen Z,
Or
whoever
Gen
you guys are, is soft. Maybe they are. Maybe not. Maybe they just are growing up in a different time with different resources and different environments, and it's different. And just because it's different doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. I think we have to do the work to understand and have, and I'm going to say this, the conversations. At the end of the day, it always comes back to conversations. Biz dev, leadership, problem solving, don't care what it is. It comes back to, did you have a conversation about it? And how did that conversation go?
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. And I love the comments that they're going to leave it to our generation. Like, if you look back in history, your generation experimented a lot. Experimented with music, experimented with culture, experimented with drugs. Not everybody, but I'm just saying, like, there was a big cultural movement that involved your generation. And it happens. Like, generation to generation, it is a thing. It's going to change, and not everyone's going to vibe with it. And I think it's creating a safe space for both sides to come together and create a system that fits both people. And my generation acknowledging that we don't know everything, which we have a strong problem doing. You know, I think our generation, because of the wealth of information that is constantly surrounded with us, and we're constantly getting bombarded on Google and all these websites with information, we probably think we're more smart than we really are. And I think that's
and the other thing is it's surface level, right? Like,
right. It's never,
everybody thinks they're an expert because they read a 3-minute read, which I love that now. Like, everything tells you how long it should take to read it. And if it says 7 minutes, people are like, oh man, that's a real commitment to reading. If it's like less than 5 minutes, they're in. 7 minutes, oh my God, I'm not going to read an article for 7 minutes. Surface level
right. And I think
knowledge.
And Laura, you know, talking about shifting to accommodate younger generations, I think it's like businesses too. And like doing the business with the people you want to. Like, Harvard knows they're not going to accept everybody. And when you go to Harvard, you know it's going to be hard as shit. You know, when you go to Florida State, you're going to party a little bit more. You know, when you're going to go to UCF. So I think knowing what you want to do as a school and as a university and what your identity is very similar to a business. You hire the right people, you do business with the right people. I think it's all kind of similar and in the same area.
So this is where I think cancel culture, as Jay Katari pointed out, is really poor, because as Lori talks about, right, like, it prepares them academically, but today's students have no understanding of the real world and how to navigate it. So it's a teachable moment. It's a teachable moment for everybody there, right? Like, it's a teachable moment for that, for the dean to have a conversation with this teacher who most likely is not willing to change the way he's taught for the past 30 years, which is a number one red flag right then and there for any person in leadership. If you're not willing to adapt, if you're not willing to grow and change, how can you expect the people you're responsible for to? So, and then the other part is a teachable moment for those students of saying, hey guys, what have we done here before going to this petition and trying to create a ruckus about it to solve the problem? How did you guys come together as a committee in the class and approach the teacher? How did you guys go through the right channels to solve the problem before escalating it to the public to just try to get eyeballs and create noise? So,
and there's another point where the dialogue within a committee starts to spread, you know, or inside a group where there's a couple of people that are like, hey, we're going to start doing this petition. And even though people are struggling and going hard, they're like, yeah, it's too hard, I'm going to give in. And that's kind of in an organization when you start talking bad about a leader or somebody, people start like coming together. Everyone ends up in the offices talking about it, and it grows and it spreads instead of dealing with it.
So here's one other like thought that I have about it is, like, when I took econometrics, which was the hardest class in the economy, in the economics major, I took it. I walked in after the second week, was like, there is no way I'm passing this in spring. I'm going to go directly to the office right now, drop it, and take it in summer because I know I'll do better in it in that scenario, and I'll be able to focus on it. I didn't point the finger and say the class is too hard. The class has to change. I looked at myself and said, what do I need to do in order to do what's necessary to pass the class? So like, I do think that there's a bit of, is there any self-awareness here, or is there any self-responsibility to say, what am I doing in order to try to reach the bar, reach the goal, as opposed to just saying, nope, that doesn't fit me, so that has to change, not me.
Right. And I think there are certain classes that end up, if we're going to go back to school, there are certain classes that get thrown in the curriculum that probably have nothing to do with your major or anything that you want to do. But it's a fascinating conversation. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. You know, I think it's going to continuously arise in different situations.
So my last point, and I think I can drive this home to business before we go, and this was a great show today. Awesome. Great. Love when one Huddle headline takes us the whole way, but proper channels of communication. I think people don't understand that when there's a problem, it's not about fitting into a box and reporting it to your boss because that's the hierarchy of the organization and the way it's supposed to be done. Bringing that up to the person that you're directly responsible to or accountable to is the right thing to do because it might be the easiest way to solve the problem. Most people go, I have to take this to the CEO because they're the ones who have to get this done. Why? Until you have the right conversations with the people in the channel, you don't even know what could happen. You don't even know what the responses are. Now, if you take it to somebody and they're refusing to work with you on it, now you know you have a roadblock that you have to figure out how to go around, over, or underneath, and that warrants the next step. But until you've had enough back and forth with the problem, with the person that it directly relates to or with, or that's responsible for, there's no need to create a petition and escalate it to the top of the school. So I would love to know more.
I was going to say, is that a system you build prior to a problem arising? So everybody's on the same page with how they should deal with it or what the common practice is?
So, and so here, like Henry Paisano says, chain of command, right? Let me tell you why that language doesn't work. Because nobody wants to be in the army in these, not that nobody wants to be in the army, but people that aren't in the army don't want to live in the army. That chain of command, it's hierarchical, that's the way it's supposed to be done, doesn't work for these people, doesn't work for these generations. They need to understand why. So instead of saying it's the proper chain of command, report it to this person, say, hey, they might be able to solve the problem for you in the easiest way. So instead of creating more work and making it harder on yourself to try to get a solution, offer it to this person first because they might have the best solution for you. That's a way different conversation than just saying, hey, follow the chain of command. People don't do that because they don't understand why. And if they don't understand why, then you're not going to get the behavior that you want.
Don't do it because I said so.
Right.
It's the right way to do it.
Killing me. Awesome. I love it. So Jay Katari says this is going to create a movement. So give students a belief that they can cancel any teacher they want. Modern day lynching. Interesting conversation. Don't necessarily disagree because anytime something happens, it creates a precedent, but great conversation to have. Great day. Let's get down to business. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. Friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get